Hello everyone, Scott and Emma here from Pillow, and I wanted to make a quick video just about the licensing that's happening in Scotland. We're immersed in it. Emma was at the licensing hearings yesterday, so we'll tell you about that in a second. But a short video for people south of the border, because we are really involved in it. We assume that people down south in England and Wales know what's happening. So I wanted to make a quick explanation video, just in case you're one, interested, but secondly, I think this is going to come into England in a similar way. So this is how you guys can start planning, if you know how it works, how it may affect you in the future, how future-proof your business. So Emma is the expert in this. I looked at it from a high level, but Emma and the team through there are involved. Firstly, what is happening in Scotland regards serviced accommodation and licensing?
Yeah, this is simple, it's straightforward that every single short-term let in Scotland now needs to have a licence to allow them to operate, and that includes existing operators and it also includes new operators coming in, and this has to be granted by a licensing board. So it goes up to a panel who basically look at this property, look at all the stuff that you have in place from gas safety, electrical safety, all your certs, and there's certain criteria, and they decide, are you going to get a licence or are you not? You have to then notify the public. So think about it the same way as you do with an HMO property. You have a notice outside saying, this is what we intend to do with this property, and the residents have 21 days to object. If nobody objects, it's pretty straightforward, and the majority of times, unless you're in a control zone, I can go into more details of that kind of stuff, you should get a licence. If you have objections, depending on the council, because every council is acting differently in this to make it more confusing, but the one that I was at the other day, basically one objection, you go straight to a Chambers hearing where the objections are heard by a Chambers panel of the council, and the people who objected to your application also get a chance to talk to this council as well, and then on that day they make a decision if you get the licence or not.
Cool, we'll come back to that because it's quite an interesting story, but Emma mentioned it's the local authorities in Scotland that have the jurisdiction here. It's been done by central government, but there's 32 local authorities in Scotland, and they're all different. It's different pricing, it's different rules. Some examples of the difference in pricing.
Well, the difference in pricing, so you've got like Glasgow City Centre, for example. I'll use them because we thought they were going to be one of the most expensive ones, and it turns out they're actually not that bad. Even the larger houses are about £500, I think it's £480 for your 3 years. The one that I was at yesterday was £1,000 for 3 years. So every council can determine the cost of their licence, so they can use it as a money-making scheme or they can use it just as a regulatory system.
Yeah, so more you need to, if you are thinking about doing this, guys, some local authorities will be more open to doing this than others. Some will be more expensive, and some have different rules. A couple of examples of the different rules of door closers and nonsense.
Yeah, some of them, because you also get a fire inspector. So as soon as you go for these licenses, someone from the fire and rescue service will go out and inspect your property. Different places are asking for closers on the doors. So again, I think that's something that's quite common in HMOs, to have that kind of closure on the door. Other ones are not asking for it. I've had ones that have gone in and says, yep, you need to put a door on that open plan kitchen that's been open plan for the flat. So you need to now provide a door to that open plan kitchen. And then the council have come in at the back of the fire inspection and goes, yeah, it's all right, we don't really want a door there, that's fine, just do the first part of it. So it is like everyone's got a different viewpoint on it. Every council will be completely different. And you might do it one way in one council area, and you go into another council area thinking, I'm going to mimic exactly what I did there, but it doesn't fit in with their rules and their criteria.
Cool, and I don't want to go into the ins and, because you need floor plans, you need certain things. There's lots of things you need for your license application. They're going to do like criminal record checks and
they already do that. As soon as you put your application in, they're doing fit and proper person checks, and that is on the property owner. It's on myself as the property manager. It's on us as a business. There's loads of checks that they will do, and unfortunately, even your spent convictions. So if you've had a colourful youth, shall we say, your spent convictions do count against your fit and proper person test.
So again, can ruin businesses for something you've done many years ago. It's just, you're at the mercy of in Scotland, the 32 local authorities. So this is just an overview for people, because I've put a lot of posts on the different forums, and I wanted to share a high level overview. Put your application form in. Am I right? If you don't have any objections, it will go through.
It should go through unless it's hitting some of their criteria. Yeah. So again, some of them have said no flats. So if you've got a common interest, you're just not getting it, and that's blanket. So if it hits their criteria and there's no objections, you should be getting your licence.
Which is quite encouraging, because we did not think it was going to be like that, and there's various bodies fighting for us in Scotland. The next thing we spoke about, it's not the court, how do you call it, hearing? licensing board.
Yeah, it's basically the city council, the chambers that you're sitting in front of.
Yeah, and now yesterday it was a great story because you left the office to go and do this, and you had two. The other property manager at Pillow had one. Yours went through fine. Let's talk about that. So some of the things they asked.
Yeah, they went through absolutely fine. They literally just asked us, do you have a 24-hour number that guests can contact you? Someone's objected about the fact that there may end up being extra rubbish in the back court, to which we said, well, we've actually got a bin contract, so there won't be any rubbish from our guests. One of the residents said that they're worried about the ongoing maintenance, because they don't have a property factor. And we said, you know what, we're absolutely happy to contribute to that. And actually, we suggest we get a building management company involved in that kind of thing. Now, what was really nice to watch was that if there is no reasonable grounds to refuse, because they've got a list of things they can refuse you on, they can't just say, nah, we don't want to give you it. They have got a wee caveat at the end saying any other reason. But they didn't abuse that at all. And they could easily have done that. And what was really nice is they didn't. They stuck to, because they want to legally be correct as well. And it's really nice to actually watch them trying to stick to the parameters that they've got. And
again, we're given a case study of yesterday with one local authority. Other local authorities are available and may be different. So that was pretty encouraging. And the makeup of the board was the guy for the council solicitor and...
Yeah, so there's like a kind of clerk of sessions and the council clerk. You've got the kind of main chamber person that sits there. So he's sitting in a wee kind of higher chair like a judge. And they've got it's set up like a proper court.
Really?
It was really interesting. And then next to the guy that's making the final decisions, you've got a lawyer, and he's keeping them legally correct. In front of them, you've got a council panel, and that is made up of members of the council, essentially. Yep. So that's made up of your local councillors, and they're the ones that kind of question and ask all the questions to go along with the applications and the objections. And you also sit and you've got a little button that you have to speak to. So it's quite formal. Yeah. And that was the first one I've been to. So yeah, so you don't know what to expect. And it is probably quite an intimidating setting.
Now, we're okay because the team here are experienced, and there's various people in Scotland, all our team and property managers and franchisees getting licenses and going through, but some aren't going through, some people aren't having as positive an experience as us, but we're kind of okay because you're going to need to demonstrate that, hey, this is a good thing. You're going to need to demonstrate that you as a host are able to. So by us saying we've got a customer service team with 12 people in that just answer phones evenings and weekends, and so it's easier for us to do that. Yeah. But perhaps harder for individual hosts. They're going to need to demonstrate what systems they have, but it's easy for us, so maybe
so basically one of the main questions, and I get asked over and over again, I sat and watched a few of the hearings as well as obviously did our own, but one of the main questions they asked is, will the local residents have your number? Will they have a number they can contact 24 hours a day? 24 hours a day, that was something that was really important to them. So to get a license here, you have to have a 24-hour number. End of. And it's not that 24-hour number goes to your guests, it's to go to the neighbours. So again, I've done this for years, and I know the amount of neighbours that will phone you at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Luckily, we have people that are going to answer that call, but that is what they're looking for, a 24-hour service.
So something to be aware of. And I'll finish in a funny story, guys, because this is just a high-level overview. Lots of people have asked, and I thought, Emma's in the office, and she is an expert, much more knowledgeable than me. Every time I hear her speak, I learn something. Emma and Fraser two of the things went well. You did raise your objections, you handled them very well. Some other people, two other staff members are there, and basically chairs were getting thrown, abuse, people saying they've ruined your life, and 8 people there fighting their case that were all local residents. So we'll finish in the funny story. Tell us what happened with that one. We'll not give names or areas just to keep it.
What I will say on that one is the end of the story is the license get granted.
For us.
And there was 8 different people there, if not more. And it turned out that the people were objecting. It was all kind of family members, people in the street. And I know we're saying it's a funny story, but I'm actually going to flip that slightly, because something that I noticed was these people are so emotionally invested in the fact that they don't want you to have a short-term let, that I actually felt sorry for them a little bit, because they really have got themselves into this mindset that this is going to be the worst thing that could ever happen to them as well. And it literally taken over their life. But yeah, it ended really messy. There was chairs getting thrown, there's people shouting on the way out, the kind of hearing room, and it's something that I did not expect to happen. But it just shows you the kind of emotion that's involved for people that are the ones that are going to be next to these properties. And to me, it's to do with all the anti-Airbnb legislation. It's nothing to do with management companies like us, because we're trying to do it right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're getting tarred with that same brush as well.
Yeah. So, and again, I started as I would imagine this would have went, local residents doing their best to sabotage businesses. And again, we're here, Emma's a property manager and sees to the sides. Pillow's here to protect hosts and look after guests. So my side was, I knew local residents would be doing this, would be doing everything to sabotage SA operators' businesses. But Emma raised a great point. She saw it from their side point of view. The court ruled in our favour, but they would only do that if when 8 people are there shouting, saying you've ruined their life, smashing shit up, throwing chairs, very vocal, very emotional about it. They wouldn't have done that if they hadn't felt it was right. But with that, then it's our job to reassure those guys, not to argue with them. I get it. I'll ask you, would you want a serviced accommodation operator that's done a 2-day course and thinks they know everything operating next to you? Would you want it? And the answer is probably no. And it would be the same for me. But if I could be reassured that is a professional operator and there's things in place. So hopefully the fact that they raised a good point. If the licenses have been granted by that very formal panel, court-like, judge-like, solicitors, that might reassure them that there's things in place.
Yeah,
hopefully
definitely.
that calms down.
We can have, the thing is, you can get a license, the license can get taken off you like that. So even all these things that you're going to the license board, you're saying, I'll do this, I've got to type for our number, I'm going to make sure the garden's tidy, I'm going to do this. See, if you don't do any of that, the license is gone like that. So you have to do it. So you can't just sit in a room and say, yes, I promise that I'm going to do this. You have to do it because your license can be revoked in an instant.
Yep, and that is a good point. How long do licenses last for?
3 years.
3 years. So I saw that as a win, and the first thing Emma says, well, our hosts, because we've got our procedures, hosts need to deliver on what they're saying. If the neighbours are phoning and get through it, it's your mobile number and you don't answer it, they will take your licence away. If you're not getting your bins emptied, for example, and it's a mess, or you're getting constant bad guests, it's actually the start of the journey, not the finish. And I said, yes, that's the license is granted. They're going through. That's much more positive than I thought. But actually, you were right. It's the start of the journey.
It's the start.
And they will take them away, and they will definitely not renew them in 3 years, because they'll have been, the neighbours can go back in 3 years with solid evidence, police reports, pictures. You will not get your license in 3 years.
Yeah, and now they know the grounds for refusal because they've sat in that panel hearing, so they know the grounds for refusal. They're going to be looking, they're going to be watching for every grounds for refusal, and if you don't meet one of them, that's them straight in.
Cool. So thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to give a high-level overview for people that aren't in Scotland, but also people that are thinking about doing this in Scotland. And the third category are people that should have went for licenses. Emma, how many people do we meet that saying, I'm not doing that. No, it's not for me. Guys, you're going to need licenses. You're not going to get away with this. And there's people that have service accommodation properties currently operating that don't know any of this. It's quite a complicated thing. As I say, I stayed away from it. I've taken a high-level overview from the 32 local authorities and the high-level government decisions that have been made. The team here know the individual ones. I don't know. So it's quite complicated. Just wanted to give a high-level overview. And I thank you to Emma, my resident expert in this. Thanks for watching, guys, and reach out if you have any other questions. I'm sure the team here would be able to help you. I didn't want to give away specific local authorities. We've got 100+ units across Scotland, across different local authorities. So if you wonder how the different authorities may be in some of the criteria, reach out to the team. Just emails info@pillowpartners.co.uk. Thank you, Emma. Cheers.